First, I'd like to introduce Craig DeRoche, former Speaker of the House, currently a businessman, father, husband, and citizen of Michigan. So with that, Craig DeRoche.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's good to be out here. It's good to wake up. I woke up in Novi, Michigan this morning and drove down here with my dad because I thought it was important to come out here and talk to you all, share some ideas, not talk just to you, but to hear your ideas, because I'm as mad as anybody. You know, here we are in the state of Michigan that used to be the envy of the world. We built the modern middle class. We are the arsenal of democracy. We put the world on wheels. We were emblematic of freedom. And what is going on now with the fights? What is going on in Washington, D.C.? What is going on in Lansing? You know, I have to read in the news yesterday, I have to read that my friends like Senator Cameron Brown, who's here, is fighting off tax increases in Lansing because we're in a budget deficit of hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. But I have to read that Acorn gets $8.3 billion of our money, and what are they out there doing with it? They're treating people how to be tax cheats on bringing in things that we don't want in this country that you would not want to have in your city. And they're getting our money. And they're leaving states like Michigan behind. And they're not giving us the opportunities to have the types of innovations that made this a great state, that made this a great country. Folks, America, what makes us great, what I believe makes us great, what's sitting wrong in my gut with what President Obama and others are doing, is what made us great and made us different is that America was the first country in the history of the world to recognize that individual rights do not come from the charity of the state, the government. They come from a higher power, and they are inalienable. That's where we get that from. Not by the grace of the United States Congress can they tell us what to do with our lives and our health care and the money that we earn. And folks, that's what's going on. That's the core of what's going on, and that's why we're mad. That's what we're out here for today. That's the basis for everything. That thing that made us great and that powered this engine, the United States of America, to lead not only our country, but the entire world to a higher standard of living, in a better class of living, better experience for all of humanity, is the only way that you can undo that is if you take away that individual freedom and you cede it back to the government. And that has been done. This is not the first time. It's been done for generations. But this is the first time it's been done in plain sight. And it's being done faster. President Obama is trying to set the world record for undoing the greatness of what this country was founded on. Right after right after right. Private ownership of your automobile companies. Being able to go to a bank that is owned by stockholders. Being able to buy your own health care. Right after right after right is getting taken away from the private sector, from you as individuals, and put back into the government. And what that does is it tears at the threads of this democracy and everything that our country was built on. Folks, I told you how proud I am of Michigan, and I'm that proud of America too, because I was raised, and a lot of people that weren't raised in this came to believe that that is what makes America great. That's why my grandfather came over from Sweden through Ellis Island. That's why my other side of my family came through Canada. And that's why my parents, my dad, Paul here, raised me here in the state of Michigan, to believe that that individual freedom, that we could all be whatever we want, and that's being undermined right before our eyes. And I'll tell you what, the reason why we're here is we're not willing to let them take that without a fight. It's worth fighting for. President Obama isn't happy by spending not only our money, but the kids that are here in the audience's money, and maybe even kids beyond that. He didn't stop there. He wants to inject cancer into 1/6 of the American economy and sicken a growing industry whose investments in communities like Coldwater and Novi and all over the place are measured in the billions, and that have raised the standard of living and the ages and the options that we have to enjoy a better standard of life while we're alive here. And he stands before us and he says that don't worry about this attack on 1/6 of the economy. It won't cost you a dime. It won't cost you a dime. Right?
Why?
Well, and then to show you, then he goes further and he says that while he isn't the first president who's tried to socialize America, he'll be the last. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Who's he? Who does he surround himself with? And where is he trying to take our country? He said it right there in front of all of you. He wants to be the last. And I didn't understand if that means that he's going to be the last to deal with health care. Does that mean that it won't cost a dime? Does that mean that he already spent all the money of all the living people and it's the unborn that are going to pay for it? And when he says he's going to be the last, does that mean that he intends to destroy America before he leaves office? Those are the questions that I would ask him. We still fight over sentences in the Constitution and their clarity. But he thinks this monster 1,100-page bill is going to be the last discussion that we have in our democracy, hopefully, over the generations to come. I think not. I think we can stop it now. I think we can stop this direction if we band together, because what's going on in this uprising are a bunch of people that know what America is, know the difference between America and other countries, and are willing to fight for this just as they were willing to stand up to an overbearing government in the British monarchy. They're willing to stand up to this regime that is taking us off the cliff. And that's what we're here for today. And the good news is the wisdom of these founders, these patriots that fought the first fight against tyranny, that instilled this value that our rights come from a higher power, wrote a constitution that allows us to take back the reins without a bloody revolution. We can go out there now in less than 14 months and take away the power that this president has to destroy America. We can fight back, we can start now, we can mobilize, and we can get this country back. I know that 14 months doesn't sound soon enough, and that's why we're out here today and we're having this movement, because we want to stop him in the meantime from enacting the laws that he's trying to enact, and those that support this tyranny of increased taxes and the loss of individual freedom. Folks, I talk about what's made America great, and I talk about the magnitude of what is going on right now that brings us out here today. But, we've sat by and we've watched other things happen, haven't we? We haven't been perfect. We've trusted this government to not spend the seniors' money that's in the Social Security Trust Fund. Did they not spend the money? Heck no. But we didn't have tea parties over it. We didn't protest. We've trusted them to run the post office. And I'm sorry if I'm offended. It's not at the local level that's screwing up the post office. It's down in D.C. We even trusted them to transition us to direct digital TV, right? Okay? How many times do they have to put that back and they screwed it up? Meanwhile, the retail stores can bring us from beta to VHS to DVDs to high-definition televisions and everything else, and they didn't push anything back. They didn't need billions of dollars to do it. Okay, the private sector works in this country, and hopefully, after 200 years of us observing the difference, between governments that believe that they're the ones that give the rights to their citizens, and our country that believes that the individual rights are what you're born with, are enough for America to come back to its senses. I'd ask you a question. What do Henry Ford, Bill Gates, Walter Chrysler, Carnegie, Rockefeller, my dad, Don Schemmel, Judy Katz, my cousin, and everybody here that owns a business or that's worked hard their whole life have in common? None of your businesses were created by a task force or a czar appointed by the president, and neither were the companies that I just mentioned. Nor should they be governed by these people. We need our freedom back. We need individuals to rise back up and to have the opportunities that others had to create a better future. That's what America is about. The next generation is better than the past, and that can't be done by a task force. It can't be done by a czar. And I appreciate you giving me the time to come out here and talk. share a little bit of my heart and passion with you, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of the other speakers and taking your questions. Thank you.